Good morning. It is 7:14 a.m. on Friday, October 2nd, 2020. I'm Christiana Ellis, and I'm recording this for the second time because I'm still trying to get the audio settings corrected from yesterday. When XSplit, which is my video recording software, updated, it reset some of my settings. And so first I discovered that I needed to change it away from the default microphone, but then I discovered it also needed to readjust my microphone volume settings. So the first attempt this morning had very low volume. So it's just as well because my first attempt was a little bit of a rambling avoidance of a certain news headline that if you're watching this on October 2nd, you've either looked at the headlines or not, and you probably know which one I'm talking about if you have, and if you haven't yet, you could look at them and still know what I'm talking about. And I'm not going to get any further into it, except that I just use that as an ironic timing coincidence to me yesterday taking my first COVID test. Because I was not feeling well on Tuesday, even though my symptoms didn't really seem to match what we know about COVID, out of an abundance of caution, I'm following my workplace's recommendations, which is that I'm staying out of the office, and I arranged to take an at-home test kit. And so yesterday I got the little package in the mail, and it was all pretty straightforward, had some good instructions on it. I registered the kit online, and then I had, did a little swab around my nose. It's not apparently one of those really long swabs, so this test at least just in the, the outer part of the nose. And so I did that, and I put it in the little tube, and then I put the tube back in the box, or rather in the little specimen bag, and then the specimen bag back in the box, and then the box into the FedEx bag that came with it that was pre-addressed and all of that. And then dumped that into the FedEx Express drop box. And so tracking my kit as of this morning, it says arrived and awaiting sample, and then sample on its way to the lab. So I don't have my results yet. But, all of this plus just the headlines that, again, I'm not going to discuss more broadly just because what a mess, right? Leads me to the real message that I wanted to get at and that I came around to in the first attempt too, which is just everyone please take care of yourselves. This is still a threat out there. It's still a risk. Be careful. It's been long enough that it's human nature to start relaxing some of your precautions. And while it's actually true that we know a lot more now, so there are some things that we were doing early on that are probably not super critical anymore because we have better understandings now of how the virus is spread. And so, for example, the idea that you need to spray down your groceries with bleach and then let them sit for 2 hours before you bring them inside, probably not as big a deal. But things like wearing your mask, trying to maintain distance when you can, minimizing contact with other people when you can, those things, still do those things. Because if nothing else, it's possible that even though I don't feel that bad, I feel almost 100% better from Tuesday. To the extent that I have any remaining symptoms, I could easily just say it's seasons changing. It's a little bit of, sinus weirdness. That's all it is. But it's possible that it would turn out to be COVID. But if it was, I would know that I was being careful. And so, it's one of those things where you be careful because you're hoping to prevent a bad outcome, right? Or a bad, risk. And even if it happens, then at least you can say to yourself, well, but at least I was careful. I did everything I could, and sometimes this just happens. But if you're not careful and you know you're not being careful and something bad happens, first of all, it's more likely to happen because you're not being careful. But also, you're gonna be looking back and just feeling like I could have prevented this. And then on top of just that element of it, everyone out there, please take care of yourselves. Be kind to yourselves. The world is a scary, dangerous, unpleasant place in a lot of ways right now. Make sure that you're taking care of yourself and being kind to yourself and doing your best to enjoy some of the things that aren't bad in responsible, cautious ways. And I hope everyone can just be kind to yourself. All right. So I'll leave it there, and I'll talk to you all tomorrow for 5 more minutes.